In our big story tonight, we ask your questions to the superintendent of the largest school district in Oregon about undocumented students in Portland schools. Superintendent Guadalupe Guerrero met with Kristen Severance after watching our latest episode of Inside Woodlawn, when teachers and students told us a first grader got deported. A lot of you had questions after this. You reached out to us using the hashtag #HeyDan. We learned that 7-year-old Karen's father had entered the United States illegally in 2018 and expected to be deported after a court hearing later this month. But before that ever happened, that hearing, he sent his daughter back to Guatemala, where her mother lives. This immigration story is very complicated, as they all are. But we've learned that it is not an uncommon thing in Portland public schools. You had questions after this story, and so did we. Kristen took them to the superintendent for answers.
How common is a story like Karen's in PPS schools, where she at the end was not deported, but her father was going through immigration proceedings? He sends her back to their original country. How common is that?
Well, unfortunately, over the last several years, we've seen an escalation of these kinds of stories. And my fear is, how far is this going to go? It's parents, it's students and employees. Who's next?
Portland public schools have a clear policy. Undocumented students are safe inside their schools. The policy states if, before ICE were to enter any school, they'd have to notify you in person. Talk about why is that a policy, and has that ever happened here?
It is true. If an agent were to present themselves at the front door of one of our school communities, they have to contact my office, and they will have a clear response ready for them. Schools, like churches, should be sanctuaries. We're in the business of taking care of children and youth.
A 1982 U.S. Supreme Court case ruled that public schools must educate all students, including illegal immigrants. PPS school officials don't even ask about a student or family's immigration status.
You don't see that in any documentation that we request that families provide. We're going to serve every child that comes through our doors.
A lot of the comments after the story were, Karen's dad broke the law, and tell the kids in her class that's why she's not here anymore. What do you say to that?
Well, I think we want to have a response that's developmentally appropriate. I think what we saw in your segment is the struggle that her teacher had in trying to describe why one of their cherished classmates is no longer sitting at her desk. And I think he shared that she's likely going to a new school. And I really hope that that's true, because what I would not want is for any child not to have the opportunity to learn.
We don't know if Karen is back in school, but family members say she's in Guatemala with her mother. A lot of critics say having undocumented students in a school system is too much of a financial burden.
I know what's a drain on our country, it's ignorance. And so I can't think of a better antidote than making sure everybody actually has a well-rounded education. So it's important that we have an educated populace. I think what's lacking is civic discourse. I think every dollar we invest in children and youth pays dividends in our ability to be a strong community. And so for me, this isn't a story about a child having done something criminal, or a family, and we have many examples of this, who have gone through extreme measures to provide an opportunity for their children, which I think any parent would be willing to take a risk for. I don't consider it a criminal act that they want their child to be able to read and write.
Okay, Kristen Severance joining us now in the studio. You told me earlier before this story aired that this isn't specific to Portland Public Schools. They're not an outlier here with this policy.
Right, so this was a Supreme Court ruling. So every single state has to provide a free education to undocumented students. Here in Oregon, the School Boards Association put out guidelines about this, saying that if districts did cooperate with ICE, that could interfere with providing those students an education.
What's the latest on the little girl? What do we know now about Karen?
So we know she was sent back to Guatemala. We know that her mother lives there. We don't know if Karen has been reunited with her mother. Family members here say that's who she was going to live with, but we reached out to her mother. We don't know if they're back together, and we won't know until later this month during a hearing if her father is in Guatemala or still here in the U.S.
All right, we know you'll follow up on things. If you want to follow up with some questions to Kristen or to the story, use hashtag HeyDan. Kristen, thank you.
You bet.